There we go. Okay, it's early, y'all, but I had to go and mail some stuff this morning. And so, Crystal, your possum's in the mail. I have a tracking too. I need to email it to you. But I wanted to pop on here while I sew a little frog together. If you haven't noticed, I've been making grumpy frogs, and I've got one pieced out that I need to sew together. Is everybody awake now? I've been down with earache, and then Miss Luna's been sick. But I just want to pop on here and say, is everybody awake now? You remember when I said that this whole Epstein debacle would finally wake people up? And it would determine how they're woken up if we saw charges or not? Everybody awake now? You should be. So there's absolutely no denying it now. Let me find his feet. There's his feet. There's his foot. Okay. There's no denying it now. Something bad is going on in this nation. I love the frog legs. Something bad is going on in this nation. When they look at you and expect you to remain stupid. So this list that they swear they don't have, oh, you mean the list that in the lower courts they put on file that they must protect? Yeah, somebody petitioned the court that it must stay hidden, they must protect it, so it wasn't released. Yeah, so it doesn't exist, but yet somebody in the lower courts felt the need to place it under protection. Yeah. And the jail cell view, well, you can barely see the steps going up to his cell because you're looking across, like here's the deputies, up here's his cell. The camera's way over there looking at the correction team, but you can barely see the steps going up to his cell. Somebody could have hid themselves very easily in that. It shows nothing. Plus, there was a figure that came through that trap. That's what they call a door that has to be opened by the tower. There was a person or a figure that came through that trap that had on a hoodie. My days of being an institutional parole officer and going into facilities, you wore nothing that could disguise you, that you could leave behind to disguise another, that concealed you in any way. Those were not allowed. For inmates, visitation, workers, nothing. And if you came in wearing one, guess what? They'd take it away from you. You'd have it locked up in property until you went home. That's staff and all. And then, oh, well, that camera wasn't working. Well, being an IPO, for as long as I was an IPO, do you know that if a camera is not working and there is not a ticket for repair in so many hours, that they're out of compliance? Now, apply that to a federal holding placement. Don't pass the smell test. Don't pass the smell test. So, you know, I don't know how many people are going to believe this, but, you know, that I was looking at that going, for like 3 hours, the guy at the desk never moved. No, you have every so many minutes, you have a rotation of things you have to call in, report, check on. Everybody that goes in a trap, which is a door that has to be opened by the tower, any inside door that has to be opened by tower to let you in, has a record, has a video record, an audio record, and basically a computer screen signal they can call up and see how many times it was opened and by who. So whoever opened trap has, Luna snoring, anybody that opened trap has their ID logged on the system. So they should know exactly who came in and went out. And they don't need to play stupid with the rest of us. Listen, the ventilation, HVAC systems in prisons are big enough for men to walk through. Let's review all the footage of everything that's big enough for a person to hide in, get out in, you know. But them saying there is no list. Well, we know there's a list because a lower court requested to protect that list and not release it because they didn't want to cause problems, they said, for the victims and other parties. But so something that a lower court actually had an issue with and had this big kerfuffle with, and they said, we have to protect this, don't release this. Oh, it doesn't exist. Why did a court do paperwork to hide something that didn't exist? So when it comes to the government, I guess whoever's in there, they're all going to pee on your leg and tell you it's raining. And they expect, I'm sewing legs on my frog, they expect us to be okay with remaining stupid. And they expect that we won't question, and that your loyalty is supposed to be party deep and you won't question. No, I have no loyalty to anybody but the Lord. And not to be rude, but even I presume he's pissed right now. So I don't know. It's just, it's irritating. I'm sure it's some big, powerful somebody, and I'm sure we'll never know what happened. I'm sure that man was probably an asset for something. That's how he got away with everything and had his riches and dabbled in the circles he dabbled in. But, don't be mad because your population's waking up and getting concerned. Either do a better job of hiding it or just fess up and tell us what the heck's going on. I am feeling much better. My ear is not hurting this morning. It still aches a little bit from where it's been infected, but it's not. I've got my cotton out this morning and it feels a lot better. Luna's had her breakfast and her stomach is digesting and she's over there snoring. I don't want to tell her to take a nap so I can rest. I didn't sleep the greatest last night, but I don't want to tell her to take a nap until her belly has digested for a little bit more, because we don't want to have a throw up. But now we've gone several days without a throw up. Mr. Frog, your leg is not going on right. So maybe she's getting better. Her seizures, we found out her seizures are sleep apnea induced, because she would only go into them when she go into a REM state sleep. And I was like, this is not a real seizure. If it was a real seizure, like a real epileptic seizure, then her body would be doing it, due to stimuli. Other things would bring them on, not just sleep. And that little key information that I noted was enough to let us be told that, oh yeah, well, there are sleep-induced seizures, and as though she snores like a grown man. She does. And they were like, yep. They're like, that sounds about right. And I was like, okay. So Miss Loom Boom has sleep apnea-induced seizures. So we had to change her bedding to a hammock bed with blankets that keep her body flat but her neck at a certain angle so that her throat stays open, because she's a little short muzzle dog, And how is I trying to put this together? My God. There we go. And she's doing a lot better. So we've gone seizure free now. I think we're on our 3rd day seizure free. Knock on wood, if we make it through today. And she seems to be doing. She's finally putting on weight, and her diet's gelling with her finally. And I think her body's healing from everything she's been through in her little life. Bless her heart. So she had her big breakfast, and she's doing her morning nap. Now this is my frog. There's his feet. The toes curl, but look, they're so cute because they got little knobs on the end of them. But I watched those videos, and a lot of what I noticed was, okay, well, let's look into the placement facility, the holding facility, because I used to be an institutional parole officer. If they've got cameras out and they don't have a ticket in with so many hours to repair the camera, they're out of compliance. Okay, let's fine them. They're out of compliance. Let's fine them. Why was it not reported? Why would you put him in the hallway? The camera's not working. He wasn't in the most secure cell. He was in a cell that they couldn't really see very well. But he was also in a cell that didn't have a camera on it. But number two, they didn't have a clear line of sight. It was up above them, and the little windows on those doors. No, they should have put them on the ground floor, right smack in front or right smack in the middle of the pod, so that everyone coming and going had the chance to look in that window at him. You don't put him out of place, out of mind, you know. It's like when you have somebody and you put them in a turtle suit. A turtle suit is a Velcro wrap, and when you go in on suicide watch or anything, or you have any issues, mental health issues, they'll put you on suicide watch, and they put you. We call them turtle suits, and the turtle suits indicate to everybody, you know, keep a close eye on this person that's having issues. And they always put those people where the most amount of bodies will pass their door so that everybody can look in as they're passing. So anybody coming in and out, like employee-wise, they go past that door and you just make notice you got somebody in there with a turtle suit, you're eyeballing them all the time. It's everybody's job. It's everybody's job. Then you got to know there's a minute or right at a little over a minute missing from when the time changed at night. There were 2 bags of laundry taken out, but the guy that took them out had on plain clothes and was packing a cooler or something else. He should be identified. There should be a list, even if he's a volunteer staff, a faith-based rehab program staff, whatever. If you come in that prison, you have to be logged. They have your information. Usually they fingerprint you. You have a background on file. They know who you are and what you're doing. You know, so all these questions that, you know, people have, they should have answers. And them acting like, you know, we want answers we're not privy to. You know, I'm looking at major rule, you know, issues with this facility, and I'm like, okay, well now the public has more questions because not all of us don't know how one of those things is run. We know. And the HVAC systems, a grown man can walk through them. How do I know? Because we had a black snake get in one of the jails that I was an IPO over. I've been IPO over several jails in my career, and we had a snake get into one. Let me tell you what, the inmates were really quiet that week because they were all listening for that snake to come hissing and crawling through the HVAC and drop into their cell. That snake gave us the most quiet week at that jail we'd ever had. I was kind of sad when they found it because I was like, darn it, that snake was giving us, you know, some time. Look at his little legs. Look at his little legs. He's so cute. So I was sad when they finally found the snake. So I was like, darn it, because there was no TVs on. They were listening for that snake. It would fall in the vents and fall in, you know. And if it could find a grate, it would climb right back out. And, you see grown men pitch a little fit. That was hilarious. It was just a black snake. I mean, they get grumpy and bite, but they can't kill you. They can't hurt you, you know. I used to catch baby ringnecks, put them in my pockets, and take them into class, and my science teacher got mad at me. I'd take them home. I'd forget these in my pocket, take them home sometimes. But also I'm raised in the country, so, you know. But there's a lot on that recording that is just strange. The fact that they want us to believe that the other cameras weren't working, I call bullcrap. Show me a ticket for repair. By law, within so many hours of a camera going out, you have to have a ticket for repair on file or you can be fined as an institution. Show me your ticket for repair. I want to see it. That's a federal holding pen. My tax dollars help keep it open. I want to see the ticket for repair. No ticket for repair, you're out of compliance. Fine them. Too many coincidences that statistically can't happen all at the same time to be a coincidence, you know? The guy that came in, and the guy or female, whoever it was, the person that came in the hoodie, not allowed. You don't wear clothing that can hide you, your face, or anything else you might have on your person. Even I, as the institutional parole officer, was not allowed to wear such things in the jail. Middle of winter, you flipping layers off and you put them in a lock box, or you leave them. I would leave mine in the administrator's office and just go back and get it before I left. You don't go in with all that. Never. Anything that you take in, you have to realize can be used as a weapon against you. And if it's used as a weapon against you and they win, you're probably going to get in trouble over it. So, we just didn't, the rules were followed very carefully. So, I don't know, just a lot doesn't make sense. And there are 5 or 6 times at least that the page, snoring, that the page, the screen up in the right corner had like buttons on the top. And if you watch that body language guy, I don't know what his name is. He's one of the body language guys. He's the one that has the accent. Oh no. He noted that too. And I couldn't tell what they were, but he was right. They do look like editing software. So it does look like it's been edited. Because it doesn't look like you're watching an actual recording. It looks like you're watching something that somebody has manipulated in some way, because you can see the buttons at the top for like fast forward, rewind, pause, all that stuff. So that raised, I was wondering what it was, and he's probably right. It looks like editing software buttons. So I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. And these horrible people, because of politics that are out there. My dog is snoring so bad. Okay, there's his first arm. I have to do him like that because you're supposed to cross his arms as a grumpy frog. You cross his arms and give him a frown. So I have to put their arms on kind of like that. I'm learning how to put these things together. But everybody talking hateful and making fun of these people in Texas with the flood. Same thing they did to the people in North Carolina. Have y'all realized, I told you these natural disasters, it looks like a wealth reset for me, because what happened after the everybody figured out, oh crap, well, it don't matter if we need to work or not. If they want to shut this country down, they can. So a lot of people after the decided they was going to get their finances under control and get out of debt. Well, guess what? How does this country run? On debt. It runs on debt. The most money they make on debt. They make money off of debt. That's how this place is run. Go look at it. Everything is sold as debt. That's what makes the world go round. Oh, Luna, move your neck. You're snoring. And I said, I think this is a wealth reset. Potentially. Now, the kids that were at this camp, listen, that was a camp that cost like $4,000 to send your kids to. And I got questions about the camp because I used to work at a juvenile placement facility, and I don't know. I just have questions about the camp as a whole. But now apparently the guy that owned the camp passed away trying to save people. So he was actually swept away in the floods trying to save people. So bless his heart. But still, like 40 years ago, it flooded. Also, this has happened before, but it also rained like 3 times as much that time that it flooded, but the river crested the same amount. Even with the improvements they've made to the watershed and stuff in that area. Listen to it now. It flooded 3 times as much rain, but it flooded the same amount. This time, actually, I think it got higher by a few inches, but it only rained 1/3 as much the first time. Or this time. It rained 3 times as much the first time it flooded. And this time it only rained 1/3 as much, but it crested way higher. It doesn't make sense if you know how watersheds work. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. I just, I don't. And then I've been watching in Paris and Sweden and Ireland and Great Britain they're having a heck of a time right now with what? With immigration. People in America, we are not the only people experiencing this. What's the difference in America? Americans are the only people that are going after their governments to keep allowing it to happen. Ireland, very upset about it. Europe, the nations in Europe, they're upset about it because what? How did they describe it? Oh, people in Paris have stopped having children. Why, you might ask? Because it's hard to afford to live in Paris. So people in parish, on average, have like 1 or 1.3 kids maximum. That's like the going population increase rate. Because it's expensive to be there. Now he's got his legs and arms on. Now he's going to cross his arms like this and be a grumpy frog. I've got to put his eyes on, and then he'll have a frown. And that's his arms crossed, and then he sits like this, and he's a grumpy frog. I have one done, but I gave him shorter arms. This is my grumpy frog that's done. Look, he has a butt. Grumpy frog. Grumpy frog. Grumpy. He's a shelf-sitter. Grumpy frog. So people in parish are having like one kid max. And why? And you ask people, you ask society, why has population stopped booming? You know, the core population of Parisians. Well, they stopped having children. Why? Because the resources basically have been finagled and usurped and used for migrants that get there legally or illegally, that get there country. So there's no money for families and stuff like that. They've had to get so restrictive on finances over there that it's just super expensive to live there. And as a citizen, you're not getting crap because they're having to take care of all these migrants. And when the migrants come over, they get put on community programs, which used to be for the citizens, and now they're not because it's all going to the migrants. So they basically have reallocated their funds to help these people settle. Are the people working? No. And I think sometimes for 4 and 5 years, it helps people just live while they're waiting for paperwork and stuff like that to get done. So the money's not going to the citizens. Lots of times the people that it helps, they end up going back to their homelands. They spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on people and end up going back to their homelands. Oh, and the money that they do give them normally is rerouted back to the country they came from for their extended family. So the money that they're giving them is not even going back into their own financial pool. It's going somewhere else. They're mad. I understand why they're mad. It's irritating. It's irritating to watch your nation be bled out. And it's happening in Sweden. People in Ireland are putting up a big old fuss. Y'all seen that? Oh, they're putting up a big old fuss. You like my frog? Okay, thanks, Philia. This is just my second frog. I want to make a giant one out of blanket yarn, but I don't want to pay for the blanket yarn. Thank you, Wide July. We're finally starting to feel better. And if I can get a nap in after her tummy, I don't want her to take a nap until I know her tummy's good. Because we've been doing so well, I don't want her to have a setback, but we can get a nap in. Chapter 4 will get done today. My ear has been so, I had fever, and I feel a lot better this morning. Good enough that I ran and mailed everything I needed to run to the post office. So the grandbabies have got Billy Goat snuggles on the way, and snugglers, and Crystal's got her possum snuggler on the way. Somebody bought that badger hide. It's on the way. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh. So Ireland is having a big scuffle about it. They're pushing back because now the people in Ireland are getting mad because all the people, and listen, primarily it's Muslims coming in, and what they're doing is they're coming to a Christian nation, and they're saying, you know, I'm marginalized, I'm oppressed, you have to let me practice my religion. Oh, we don't have religious lands here, so we want to. Well, that's, you know, sounds okay on the face, right? I'm gonna put his eyes close together so he looks kind of funny. But then they open up these religious lands that are, listen, religious lands are religious lands for a reason. And if it's very close to like the Catholics, they don't want another religion practicing there because they see that other religion as a, farce. Just like, and people say, well, that's mean. No, the Muslims do that too. You do know that the Muslim religion, is a conquering religion. They go everywhere basically to take over, and if you don't, then they see you as a dead set enemy, and their handbook is not kind. When you raise toddlers and teach them that one of the best things they can do for their nation is to push a button and blow themselves up and a bunch of other people, there's some issues there, y'all. There's some issues there. I mean, I don't think I'm telling most of y'all nothing. A lot of religions are peaceful at heart. And a lot of people, even if they're in extreme religions, are normally peaceful at heart. But this one is just one of those that it's primarily, the extremist, the largest demographic in the religion are extremists, basically. And it's just one of those religions that it's a trouble spot. Because they procreate and populate with an intent to, usurp and be absorbed in, and then to flood the population so that they basically are the population. And I don't think anybody that has studied, I don't think that comes as a shock to anybody. If you studied. And my dad's got a really good book, and if I remember when I'm down there later this week, I'll grab it. It's got a really good book on the topic about the religion and everything. But anyway, so now there's this guy, and the lady that went with him, her name is Angela Rose. She has a YouTube channel as well. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, go to Angela Rose. She went there, and you can't tell them you're a journalist or they'll attack you, but she went there. The journalist was trying just to film in public Parisian markets, but it doesn't look like a Parisian market. It looks like downtown Baghdad or somewhere like that, because of the populations that have flooded in the area. It explains how they're taking over the markets, the jobs, the resources of the government. It explains everything. But you can go to Angela Rose and watch. She kept having to tell that, and the man that she was with kept having to say, no, she's a tourist. No, this is a free nation. We can film. We're in public. We can film. They don't want to be filmed, and they don't care about your laws or the laws of the land. They care about what they care about. And they come there, they don't follow the law. They don't want to be filmed because they know they'll get in trouble. They don't believe that women should be doing these things. They immediately, when they get somebody, immediately as they get enough bodies there, they try to bring Sharia law, however you want to say it. And they are very forceful with that. And they want to, instead of assimilating to a place where, gee, I had to leave my nation because, it's so bad. Wouldn't you think that you would embrace the nation that helped give you a new life? No, they won't, because their religion is very strict. So they go and they set up the same shop and create the same demographic they just fled from. And they wonder why nothing's getting better. But you can go watch Angela Rose's channel, and you can see how they come in and they take advantage and they basically take over. Okay, now he'll have to have his arms crossed for a couple days. And I've got to put his eyes in. I've got to do his whites and his black pupils. But here he's got his arms crossed and he sits on a shelf and he's just a grumpy frog. I don't know if I'm going to give him a butt or not. I have some with butts. David decided to pick up 2 markets in August. The 127 corridor yard sale, which it was a stables that asked him to set up there, and a lot of the people that go there decorate in the stuff that he makes. And I thought, well, I can crochet while I'm sitting down worried about this dog. And then he wanted to pick up a community market, which he doesn't think that the hides and stuff will be a huge draw for. But he thinks that some of my art that I do will. And he's like, if you got anything else to pull out your butt, do it now, because I'd like to take it to that market. And I'm sitting here going, I just make stuff that hits me and, Margaret. I'm about blind. My eyes are much better, but when my ear messed up, my eyes messed up, y'all. You can tell my eyes how sick I've been. I appreciate the prayers. So here's the thing. So people say, well, how do you see this? You know, how do you identify this so easily, so quickly? Turn your leg around. There you go. So your toes are going the right way. There you go. So I need to put his frown on and put his eyes in. He's almost done. He can sit over here. He can be blind. He'll be Stevie Wonder Frog for a little while. Okay. Stevie Wonder Frog is set on the shelf. I don't have any more of that yarn. Well, I might have another skein. I don't know. I'll have to look. So here's how I look at things. I look at things not as a person, I look at it in an animal view. Because that's where I want this band. That's where I've learned the most of behavior. Even in all my psychology classes, listen, the animal view of land is what has been the biggest bang for my buck. So y'all have heard me talk about David when he goes to trap land. He never tries to eradicate any population of anything. Number one, it's not good for Mother Nature. Mother Nature needs a little bit of everything, to work her magic. Number two, if you go in and you have a bad predator, whether it's a coyote or, if you eradicate that predator by trapping or hunting, then all you've done, if they think, oh, I got rid of it, I'm not going to have any more problems. No, you have open real estate. And the next baddest predator is going to bump up to be the worst predator, and he's going to assume control and dominion over that land as well. You just swapped the predator problem for the new predator problem. So you're always going to have some kind of balance. Balance is key to nature. Balance is key to the land being healthy. Balance is key to the animals on the land being healthy. It's the same in society, because we're just animals. I would like to think we're smarter, but at times I wonder. We're just animals. Did I finish? Oh, yeah. I think I put pictures of him up, but he's in the box already. If I don't put things in boxes and label them, then I'll just have plushies all over my house. And I don't want the dog to get hold of them, so I put them up over them. I did like a buckskin looking horse, an Appaloosa looking horse, and a smuggler horse. And I've started fly masks. Their ears go here, it goes on their head, and then their ears come through. You can tie it onto the thing. But I need to bring this on down for fringe. Got a couple of those. I have one possum left that I did some face shaping and put a big old nose on. I thought it was cute. And we can roll him up. Here he is. It's a possum. It's a real possum. This is the only possum I have left. He is just a little bit smaller because I almost ran out of gray yarn. He's a snuggler, so his body's not. You just pack him around and snuggle him. They're just as soft as can be. But he will be $5 less than the other ones because I was just like a few rounds short on the gray. And I was like, well, you're just going to be a tiny possum with a big nose. I did some face shaping on him so I could make him have a little bit more of an expression. Oh, let me go look. Ooh, the camp. Margaret. Yeah, everybody read Margaret's. Margaret's dropping some stuff. I will. I'll tell Sabrina you said hey. I'm trying to go back through. Well, I may not be able to. It's such a little spot on my phone when I have to see. I need to do more of a deep dive into that. But now listen, it looks like there's been a lot of land squabbles about this camp as well. I love this little possum. The other billy goat, Kim claimed, and the other snuggle slug, my physical therapist, was like, I want it. And I was like, okay. But these are so soft. So, The other ones are like 35. And since he was a few rounds short of the gray because I was about to run out of blanket yarn, he's like a little kind of smaller. He'll be like 25. Isn't he cute? They're so soft. I've got that big dragon too. I've got to finish her. I've got to do her wings. What was I saying? Oh, it seems like there was land squabbles about this camp too. Anyway, there's a little bit of a history about this camp. Anyway, and the fact that it's a Christian camp called Camp Mystic, I haven't had issues with that all over the place. But anyway. Margaret's dropping little gems for you, little breadcrumbs. But here we go. Now we look at it from an animal and land standpoint. Now that you know how a trapper goes and looks at land, looks at balance, looks at the numbers, what happens when you eradicate or overwhelm one predator? The new predator comes in, takes over, and assumes dominion on the land. Okay. In America, I wouldn't necessarily say predator, but who was in kind of control of the land? Well, we had a very proud, patriotic society, and we wanted everyone to be American, and we had rules, which every other nation has rules too. Y'all know the riots going on in Mexico right now? They're chasing out white tourist and business people, calling them really horrible names, like breaking in their businesses, destroying everything, and chasing these people out and threatening them. Why? Because they don't believe that they bring enough to the society. Even though they move there, bring their incomes there, create businesses there, and go there legally, they say, you don't pay your fair share, we want you out. Well, hi, Mexico. Guess what? Right back at you. At least our people come in legally, At least, when we go down there to visit, we do so legally. So everybody's saying, well, then other countries wouldn't do this. Go pay attention. There's a reason why the media won't put their riots on and inform you about this. Basically, our media has softened us and our younger generations, and they think that what the U.S. does is unheard of. No, every other nation in the world does this. Every other nation in the world has borders. They keep their borders and enforce their borders, and you get charged, you get put in jail, you do time if you sneak in, do these things anywhere else. We're kind of the nicest people on the planet, honestly. Suck it up, America. Grow a set. Get back to enforcing laws. So what they've done is our proud, patriotic, top-level security, which was proud, patriotic citizens that reported things to keep laws and rules going to sustain our nation and the kind of nation we want to have, they've bred those people out. They have softened that predator group in America. So we don't have that predator group in America that patrols the land and says, this is my land, you will behave or you will not be here. And every society needs those people. What we have now is a group of younger people coming up going, I'm a bleeding heart, hug a tree, don't hurt anyone. It don't matter if he's got 3 murders in his country, he came here to be better. Sure. Best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. I like it when the underdog shows that they can change, but it doesn't happen too often. Used to supervise criminals, lots of them. It doesn't happen that often, okay? So they have basically softened our predator population to where we're not patrolling our fence lines and we're not keeping our land in check. So what has happened? A new predator population has snuck across the fence while we've been snoozing. And guess what? We're already outnumbered. They're already reproducing more than we are, and they're coming in with a lot more strict rules and ideologies that they won't flex on. So we flex so much, but they're not going to. So this new predator population is going to be a much more strict, rigid, and forceful population. And they got into power because our generation was too soft to maintain the fence rows of the land. So basically, they bred out the population in America that maintained the land, patrolled the land as the top predator, which was just a good citizen. And they replaced it with these people that they brought in. They put you in an emotional straitjacket It made you feel sorry for everybody so that they could flood our nation. And then they get in here and they strip resources, basically absorb all resources, all funding. There's nothing left for the citizens. Then they bleed the country dry. And then when the country is about crippled, then they flip the script, they flip its government, and they turn it into what they came from, even though they swear they were fleeing what they came from, but they just set it up somewhere else. So this is a usurp, dominate, and repopulate campaign, because that's just what is taught. Okay, everybody's like, but they're people too. Okay, yeah, they're people too, but you have to understand, not everybody's like us. Not everybody's raised like us. Not everybody's taught like us. And some people are taught from the time that they are on their mama's tit that the best thing they can do is lay down their life for the country, even in a crazy manner. So we have to be aware that not everybody lives like us, and not everybody's raised like us, and not everybody has a heart like us, and boundaries are great things. Everybody's forgetting also, it's the vernacular, how they're saying the words. So instead of saying an illegal alien, it's an undocumented migrant. Okay, they're softening the blow of what these people are doing. They're taking the felonious behavior, the criminogenic nature, and they're making it sound like they're little pound puppies that need a home. They're not. They're not. They had a home. Many are fleeing because they're in trouble with their countries. Probably 10% actually want to live in America and do something new, but they don't know how to get there, or they're okay with breaking the rules, which is a problem in itself. People that want to be here and want to be here right will come in legally, and hey, I welcome those people. Come here legally, do what you got to do. That's fine. We've got a huge immigrant population here, even Chinese, and we've got a very large Latino community in my little podunk spot of Appalachia. They came here legally. Beautiful family. Ecstatic about starting restaurants and teaching us about their culture. But guess what? They love being American too, because America's given them so much. Their daughter was the homecoming queen. All their cousins and stuff that have moved here and started 3 more restaurants, pillars of the community, great people. Great people. And you know what's very important to them? Rules, laws, fitting into the community, becoming American. Imagine that. Becoming Americans important to people that come to America. Oh, the audacity. Yeah, if they don't come here legally with the right mindset, what do we have? We already have a criminal who's been taught that our laws are not enforceable. A lot of people that they're saying they want to protect, these softer populations, they're people that have been caught trafficking. They're people who have been caught with 10 people in a trunk, 4 people in fuel tanks. Have you seen some of the people they catch that are trafficking? Have you gone and looked these things up? It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. And then they get arrested and they're going to get deported, and they're like, well, they're just here for a better life on the backs of people that they smuggle for thousands of dollars, and God knows what they do to them when they have people in their custody. We got to stop this. We got to stop this. You also need to go and read about the weird crematoriums found in Mexico. Well, that's a good one. Go read about the weird crematoriums found in Mexico that are just massive furnaces out in the middle of podunk deserts, and all they can find are shoes. It's eerily similar to another area. The only thing is they use fire and like adobe brick ovens that they've made instead of chemicals to destroy things. So, all they found was huge piles of ash and shoes. It's amazing if you just start digging and you go to other nations and you read top news stories in journalism. It's amazing what we don't get told. Why? Because they are manicuring the information you get to absorb so that they can control what you know, control how you feel about it, and control how you react, and control society, basically. And I don't need anybody to tell me how to feel. I know how I want to feel. I know what's important to me, and I know how I want to look at things, and I know how I want to hold them up against my beliefs and how I made my beliefs. I've worked at them for 47 years. I'm kind of concrete in them. I don't need to be babysat. I just need information so that I can make a well informed decision on how I want to react to these things. We're not getting information. We're getting told what they can manipulate and enforce. Our younger generation, their whole lives are algorithms. They don't know about the real world. They get the real world pushed through a phone or some tech device. Then you're not getting the real world because somebody else is creating the algorithm for you. They know what you like, or they know what makes you emotional. They know what makes you spend money, and that's what they send to you. You have been cultivated and groomed like a Shetland pony on the cell block. You've been trained. You're a profit margin. So, it's just like, come on. I can't, there's a lot of things I can't say because it'll get flagged, but Margaret's dropping a lot of information. So you have to be super aware of what's going on. Oh, wow. So we have to really stress, and I'm not saying stop immigration. No, I just want legal immigration. If you truly want to be here and you want to better yourself and you think America is the place to better you, then you're going to come to America and you're going to believe in America. You're going to be excited to be here and you're going to be a great asset to this country. Some of the proudest Americans have been the migrant populations. Back in the day, there were a lot of Cubans that came here, and they were the strong knit population that raised some very, 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 very patriotic generations. Probably still some of the most patriotic younger generations that are on American soil. Why? Because the parents knew what they fled from. And everybody's like, oh, America did that. No, no, no. They've always had a perfect environment, perfect weather, perfect soil, and a perfect location. They can grow anything they want. They've got two huge trading partners, Russia and China, and they've never been able to make it happen. Why? Because the government keeps all the money and keeps the people ignorant, starved, and terrified. That's why they failed. Set them up for failure. You're going to get failure. They get a terrified workforce that's barely surviving. Why do you keep people in those fear states? Because some people perform better when stressed out because they think their life's on the line. Don't put me in that scenario. I'm a freaking fainting goat. I'll just lay down and die on you. I ain't gonna make you no money. I'm just gonna go, okay. Because I get mad when I had a manager one time tell me that the reason he gave me 3 times the caseload is because I worked better under stress. And I just looked at the upper management and I said, "Did you write that down?" I said, "Because when I snap, we're going to be back here talking about this." And they were like, "Take the load off of her. She shouldn't have any more than any other officer." I had like 450 offenders. Everybody else had like 89 to maybe 130. But they have the perfect placement geographically, the perfect land, fertile, lush, can grow anything. They for years and still currently, slavery is just prominent there. It's just prominent. So they've got the manufacturer workforce, and they could turn profit on anything, but they don't because the government takes it all. The government keeps the people poor, keeps them uneducated, keeps them stressed out and in fear because they like having a workforce that is basically at their whim. And when people flee, they don't care because those are the people that would create rebellion. So they're fine. You go to live in another nation. We're going to keep the terrified people because we're making hand over fist here. We're not going to give it to the people it's working for us. And then we go to other nations and go, help us. We're struggling. Why are you struggling? Got the perfect freaking land, perfect trade partners, perfect trade route. You're basically what is the gate to the west for trade options. And the only reason you're not flourishing is because you don't do anything to benefit your society, government. Oh yeah, they definitely used me, and I stubbed up like a mule too. I was like, we're gonna sit here for a while. Hey, I like immigrants. I worked for a little Puerto Rican man who was probably the sweetest. I mean, he was like a father figure to me. I loved him. Y'all have heard me talk about Julio. I loved him. Like, we cracked each other up. He was probably one of the best people I'd ever met my whole life. Taught me so much about how they worked on a center pole with a long line with horses in a different way. And it's a very effective way. I enlisted it quite a lot in my later years after I worked for him. Great man. He loved this nation because he had opportunities. Okay, he came from nothing, and here he was able to have something. Hard work turned into something. Y'all, if we stop this, if we stop hard work from becoming anything at all, we're never going to have hard workers again. And we're going to turn into these other nations that are just feeder pigs made for slaughter. If you do not have a useful inclination, why keep you around? It's not going to take long. Canada's got the maid options now. They're starting to close down any kind of nursing or hospice home that refuses government contracts because the government is enforcing that all hospice and nursing homes offer maid options. Y'all know what these are? They basically grease your way out. You're sick? Oh, just go ahead and leave. There's no quality of life left for you. Just check out. I'm sorry. I'm still breathing. Let's not rush this. I mean, I want to go to heaven. I'm just in no hurry to get there. I figure it's the good Lord's timing, not yours. But in Canada now, if you have any kind of government affiliation and you have one of those agencies, they're forcing you to implement those options and to kind of push people toward those options. If not, then they're reneging on the contracts, taking your business and your land. Yep. Like a $35 million business that still had quarter of century on the contract amount of time, and they swooped in after they'd only been up in 3 years and said, well, since you want off of this and it's a new government mandate, we're retracting from the contract, which forces you into default, and we're taking your business and your land. And then they flipped it, turned it to a government run agency instead of a private with government contracts. It's completely government run now, and they're, guess what? A lot of the people that were residing in that hospice / nursing home facility that were happy to be there are no longer with us today. Wonder why? Wonder why? Wonder what made them change their mindsets about life in 2 months. Can't imagine. Can't imagine. I don't want to. I want to live in an area like that. Yeah, I definitely think the old ways are calling to people because it's a more honest way. It's a more connected way to live with the land, with people, and with your hands. You're useful. Skills, we've lost a lot of skills because we've mechanized them, and when you turn a skill and just to another, what is it, a machination, and you don't continue to train people on the full skill, and then the machine breaks down, eventually, in just a matter of time, no one knows how to do what the machine did. You started out from scratch. So these old skills need to be kept alive. So people will laugh at me and my husband all the time for how simple we live. Well, when society falls, I've got a very short drop. How about you? While you plummet, you're going to have plenty of time to think about everybody that's already got their footing because they were just that far. And here you plummet. It's going to take you 10 years to fall. The crash is going to be substantial, and you're never going to recover. I just like to live a little bit closer to nature, a little bit closer to, grit. I think it's more useful. It's just me. I'd rather be gritty and smart and ornery and, scrappy as to be educated and have a plush life that when stripped away from me, I can't function without. That's just how I am. Oh gosh, the Foxfire books were just normal coffee table books in my area. And when we read them, we were like, hey, somebody wrote about this. And it's just stuff you grew up doing. You're like, somebody had to write this down. That always tickled me. I was like, why did they make a book about this? This is just stuff you grow up knowing. And then, as I got older, I was like, oh, not everybody knows this. It's such a big thing to grow up and to make your brain bigger than the plot of land you sit on and understand the differences in the world. And there are good things and bad things from every square inch of land on the earth. Know them. It's good for you. Yeah, I've got several here, but the Foxfire books are just normal reading around here. And 9 times out of 10, we read them to laugh because sometimes they'll get it wrong. We're like, wonder if anybody's trying that and it didn't work. So, but yeah, they're handy books to have. I have a lot of North American medicinal plant books, edible plant books, stuff like that. And even though I grew up eating what's here, you still want to know about the other areas that you're not quite aware of, because there are regional plants that only grow in certain areas that if for some reason you find yourself in another area, you might need to be educated about. So I try to look at least hemisphere awareness where I may land at some point. I have to clue you in. I'll have to go back and read through. Dad used to just, it was his bathroom reading material. And you would hear him cackling. And you'd know that he found something that was not on the up and up of the Foxfire book. Or that was like a very bad error that needed to have been fixed because it was going to cause somebody to like ruin a whole mess of something they were making or canning or something. But he loved looking for those. That was like his thing. We just laughed and went on. If you have never seen the Foxfire books, you can start learning some of the old ways by looking for the Heartland series. I think it was WBIR, WATE. I can't remember. It's the Heartland series with Ted Landry. Is it Ted Landry? Bill Landry. God. And you just Google it. A little Knoxville news agency gave this guy a budget. He went around all of Appalachia and just pulled the neat stuff, culture stuff up, and he did for years, did a show about it. And you can still buy the tapes, and I'm sure the CDs now. I don't know. It just was always on my news because it was a little segment after every evening news. And he was just like a living legend in the area because he kind of put Appalachia on the map for a lot of big cities, and it got people interested in our culture and festivals and way of life. So if you look for the Heartland series with Bill Landry, you'll see a lot of these very useful, very easily digested, informative little spurts that will teach you a lot. You probably understand me a whole lot more if you watch film. But that's really handy to go and watch those. They're really good, informational. Some of them are funny about the lore and the culture, and some of them are very useful about gardens and food and plants and, ways of life that just are good, solid things to know and have in your repertoire. Ooh, a hillbilly just said repertoire. Woohoo! But that's, if you have time, go look them up. The Heartland series of Bill Landry. But now that I'm, seeing the same problems in Sweden, isn't it funny that all across the world, it's not just America having this problem. If our younger generation knew that Sweden, Paris, the UK, Ireland, were also having these huge migration issues of undocumented people coming in and basically just absorbing every financial resource. And it was predominantly the same population of people. I think that the younger generation would go, what? Because a lot of those places over there are ahead of this by about 10, 20 years, and they're starting to see the huge issues, whereas they're coming in and trying to take over communities, put in the Sharia law, starting to hold the communities responsible for their way of life. So like there was one guy in a gas shop, a corner market, basically. His wife had gone in to get something. She was coming out the door and bumped into a man, and she almost fell. The man put his hands out to catch her because he didn't want her to fall. That woman's husband came in and was like, you must pay me. It is a fine. You may not touch my wife. He goes, she bumped into me and almost fell. I didn't want her to fall. I didn't touch her, just be touching her. She bumped into me and I didn't want her to fall. You must pay me. She is filthy. She now has to stay in isolation for so many days. And you have, and the guy was just like, dude, you moved to a land that doesn't believe like that. Just, if you want to live like that, go back to your homeland. You're here. This is how we function as a society. Get over yourself. You send your woman into a tiny gas station, she gonna bump into somebody, idiot. That's probably what I would have said. But they, like in Paris right now, the markets are flooded with people that, number one, don't buy the licenses. So the people that pay the licenses are getting run out by these rogue marketeers that are taking over the markets, and they're selling cheap crap. They're not selling fresh foods and baguettes and flowers in like a Parisian market. They're selling clothes strode on the street, and they're not paying their licenses. So the city's lost money hand over fist. They're not able to take care of all the trash those people bring in because they don't have any pride in the area, so they just throw everything everywhere. They're running out of money as a society because of all the immigrants that are there that have to wait 5-6 years, have to go through all the due process. But by law, they have to upkeep because they accepted them. And they're going broke. Paris is falling. Sweden's crumbling. Ireland's pissed off. And they're struggling as well. And it's all because too many, for the wrong reasons, with no respect, came to a nation where the people were too soft and wouldn't enforce rules and say, you're here now, you have to assimilate on some level, or we're not going to have a nation anymore. And while I don't mind you hanging on to your culture and being proud of where you came from, you have to also love where you end up and want to be there, or you're just going to make that place fail as well. It's really easy if you look at it from a trapping standpoint. If you reduce predator populations, another predator is just going to come in, and if they're more rogue and more hateful, life on that land. And if they're not a responsible predator kept in check, they're going to overuse the land, tax the land, kill the land. Make it a very hostile piece of dead earth. Y'all know the piece of land David's working with the state and feds over here to bring back to life. That land was dead. And on this 4,000 acres or so of land, you can see the same dynamic at play as Sweden, France, the UK, Ireland, and America. It's very easy to see what's going to happen. I know what happens in a little micro blurb of land in Appalachia. It's the same tactics. You would think that humans would know better. But at the end of the day, we're just animals. And a predator's a predator. They're going to see what they can use it for. And if they're in control, that's what it will be used for. So we have to be careful who our top predator is in this land. It has to be a predator that we agree with, that we understand why they implement their predation policies, why they patrol their land, and how they're going to maintain their land. We got to kind of agree with that, right? Because if we reestablish the predator controlling this population in America, we may not get to control it and agree with it much longer. It may just turn into something that we can't control because We're too soft to implement any boundaries. So we got took over by the next top predator. It is very much like the Lion King. And people are like, people don't understand. Disney's been training your children for a long time. They've been training your children for a long time, but it's empathy, sympathy, and feelings for almost the wrong side. It is self-sacrifice at all cost. Why do you think your child is always taught to take a step down from anyone else struggling with anything? Someone else's life is always the struggle. Someone else is always handling something bigger. So, no. You should see yourself as important too. Take care of your shit before you worry about somebody else's. That way, nobody else has to worry about you. And guess what? If we all taught each other to do that, we wouldn't have to worry about anybody but ourselves, and we'd all function a little bit better. And then nobody would be the cleanup crew. We wouldn't have to bleed empathy and sympathy and compassion for people that don't have the same workings up here and won't give it back. An energy swap is an energy swap. I'm getting tired of being the freaking Duracell and everybody else being a freaking Dollar Tree battery. I'm getting freaking tired of it. I'm supposed to have enough voltage to keep a community going, but I'm getting boo diddly in exchange. I'm getting kind of pissed off about it, to be quite honest. Getting tired, getting run down. Mark. So that's just how I see it. I think it's just a really simple thing to look at. If you take out the lies, the politics, the bleeding compassion that is not bleeding compassion. If you were truly just a bleeding empath, it would be for anyone with any problem. It wouldn't be just a specific set problem. You would feel bad for anyone struggling. But what we see in our nation is you don't feel bad just for anyone struggling. It's if they agree with you, have your ideology, and will follow you, basically. If you can't assume the power, then you don't give any empathy. And that's not kosher. That's a hostage scenario. That's an emotional hostage scenario. I don't ever want to be in one of those. So this new breed of compassionate young people that are tearing cities apart and burning them and being just little asinine jackbutts, they're not compassionate, empathetic people. They're voracious little velociraptors looking for prey. And if you don't hunt with them, you don't eat with them. And you're an enemy. So, we've created our own little perfect storm. We raised them and fed them and housed them. And you think that we would just a tough nation with tough land and tough people that settle this tough land, we would have tough people. But listen, we had it pretty cushy for a long time in America. And kids got soft to where cartoons hurt them. They saw Wile E. Coyote light a stick of dynamite and thought they all needed one too, and we had to outlaw cartoons because kids thought they needed dynamite. Nobody'd say, "Shut your stupid hind end, you don't need dynamite, you little brat, ignorant." Go figure that one out. It'll be like my shop teacher that had 2 fingers. Sometimes life lessons are necessary. It's sad, but if you do it to yourself, it's a life lesson. You had a reason to need to learn that. It's not everybody else's problem because you're stupid. It's everybody else's problem because they're stupid. I mean, honestly, No Child Left Behind is haunting this nation bigger than I don't know what. At this point, when you write a college level essay, to make a good grade, you have to gear it to a 6th grade reading comprehension level so that your teacher and classmates can understand it. That should scare the crap out of everybody. scare the absolute crap out of everybody. Sixth grade reading comprehension level. And that's where the government keeps everything between 4th and 6th grade. That's where they think we all are as a nation. Everything has to be written in a 4th to 6th grade comprehension zone because that's where they think we are. I'm offended by that. I'm offended by that. Exactly. Yeah. No Child Left Behind equaled, we're just not going to tell them they're stupid. Sometimes you need to know you're stupid. Sometimes it's a learning curve, but it's a journey you need to take. I was told I didn't do well and I didn't perform well on a test, therefore I got the grade I deserved. Guess what? I performed better. You find out real quick who is inherently wanting to succeed and wanting to fail. It's important as a society to know these things. It's important as a self to know these things. But we don't want to teach the hard facts anymore. It's just, yeah. That's what's going on in the world. That's what I see. Everybody should be awake now. I knew that this Epstein crap would wake everybody up in one way or another. Either we would see charges and we would see the dirt, or we wouldn't see charges and we would see the contradictions and corruption. I personally am absolutely dying to know what specific faction and level of power. And I have an idea, but it would be nice just to be able to have the information in my brain. I will one day, but just to know how corrupt all of that is, which I have an idea, but wouldn't it be nice if we could just lay that out for everybody to see what we're working with, so everybody could get their hackles up, be very aware, and start to eradicate approval of that type of lifestyle? Wouldn't it be nice if we absolutely knew what we were up against and we could actually create a way to combat it instead of being kept stupid and ignorant about most of it? Now, I've seen more than most because of the jobs I've worked, but I've not seen it all. But I have an inkling. I read a lot. Had a guy that I had on parole. His great-grandpa was a big wig in the Masons. I got to read a book that nobody else was supposed to see. It was enlightening. Very. I know. God, I hated grading to a curve because I was always pulling somebody else up. And I was like, work your little butt off and get your own freaking grade. I'm tired of pulling you people up. And then the kids in the class be like, you better make a 95 so we get 5 extra points. You better make a B so we get. I'm not running your race. I'm running mine. If you want to run slower, just get in the back of the list, bud. And they would then try to pummel you and bring the whole class's grade down so the curve was higher so people could slack more. Do you see where it got us, y'all? Do you? Do you keep a dog that only hunts 2 days out of the year? No, you want a dog that hunts the whole time because you've got a goal to meet. You need that dog to work. Do you keep a draft horse that only pulls a plow twice a year? No. Do you keep a buggy horse that won't pull a buggy? No. There's a thing about being useful and performing a task well. It makes you critical. You find your niche where you're better at things, so you're more critical than others, and that's where you thrive. That's where you flourish. That's where you find your thing to do. And we got whole generations that don't know their thing to do, so the government's telling them what to do, which is yell at this, be offended by that, scream at that, stand in front of cars that can mow you over. They've dumbed so many of us down. The genetic pool is. Listen, that soup's been thin for a long time. It's not packing a punch anymore. Give me math anxiety. Did you know that I was sitting in the doctor like a couple years ago, and over, how they play those insurance commercial things over and over on their little televisions? It's irritating. Do you have decision fatigue? Do you just get up every day and just don't want to make a decision because you find yourself making decisions all day? Do you know that decision fatigue is a thing? No, it's not. Your brain rapid fires. It can do millions of things at once. It's amazing. You don't have decision fatigue. You have, I'm telling you what to be tired of fatigue. You have, I listen to other people too much fatigue. You have, I have my head up somebody's hind end fatigue. You know who I worry about in life? Whose hind end do I wipe? That's the person I worry about. It's real easy. Whose hind ends do you wipe? Hopefully, unless you're taking care of somebody that needs help, it's your own. That's who you worry about. When people give me problems, I sit back and I go, would I wipe their hind end? No. Okay, it's not my problem. I don't want to give them my energy. I don't want to be emotionally, mentally, physically. I don't want to be wiping their hind end. I wipe my hind end. I'm going to worry about me. It's a great way to live your life. Are you snoring? I was a Snorty McSnorterson. Wow. My dog snores. Really, Margaret? Wow. No, they don't know state capitals. We used to get grilled on that. You had to stand in front of the whole class. And if you didn't get it right, you had to sit down and shut up. You know, a little bit of peer pressure is a good thing in some ways. Now, we can make anything bad, but, you know, there is something to say about, you know, wanting to perform at top level for yourself. I never wanted to do it for other people. I wanted to do it for me. I wanted to have my crap in a row. I wanted to be a good student. I wanted to have the knowledge in my head. I wanted to contradict what I thought so that I could explore topics and learn more and understand why I thought the way I thought. When I solidified my own mantra and ideology, I wanted to know what I solidified it on, that I had looked at everything I could get my hands on before I made a decision for myself, so that I could tell people how I came to this decision and I could stand firm in it. You know, now we have people that, you know, flip political parties every 5 seconds. Like that freaking matters. How about core of who you are as a human being? How about we vote like that? But, you know, honestly, if we did that, we'd probably nobody be voting. We'd all be going, we don't have a candidate, sir. But we've gotten into this where you have to identify as something in every capacity. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know, you can be anything you want to be. Good Lord spat in clay and molded you and gave you free will. And y'all handed over in every way you can. Some people will only be spit and clay. And the rest of us will take that gift he gave us and run with it and become miracles. Some people will only be a handful of mud. I've met a few. If you don't see the miracle in it, you don't see a miracle as yourself, you're not going to go create miracles. You're not going to see others as miracles. It's a really dark and gloomy existence you lead. Sorry. It's your problem. Whose butt do you up? Mine. Worried about me. It would make the world a better place. You know, I grew up with an old typewriter, and then Mom had one of the old electrical typewriters. But even when we were doing learning typing in high school, I was still typing I would type college people's papers, 30 plus pages papers. I would type those on an electric typewriter at home to make money. I typed really fast. That's how I ended up doing medical transcription. I don't have the training. I just knew Latin. I picked it up real easy. And I typed 108 words per minute. Bada bing, bada boom. But I typed college grade papers when I was in junior middle school. 6th grade. Now, if you were to ask a kid to figure out how to work a machine like that to do a paper, they would probably sit down, throw a fit, and cry. And I was like, well, this is what I have to work on. It still functions. I'm going to be super careful not to make mistakes because I don't want to have to clean up. And you just make it work. We don't have that mentality anymore. It has to be so easy because effort is not anything that anybody's used to anymore. Oh yeah, Annette, if you don't learn something every day, what you here for? Because life is about growth. I mean, my gosh, I learn something every day. I try to anyway. I want to learn something every day. That's why I read so much. Oh, I spent a lot of, like, if we had activity periods or something, I wouldn't go to like clubs and stuff. Even though I was in clubs, I wouldn't go. I would go to the library. That was my favorite place to be. And we had a really good library at my high school. Phenomenal. We had a great library. I read and consumed history books or historical based, like generational family books that were like, held the history correct. I devoured those because I wanted to know how people live, the struggle. So if I couldn't get a true historical book, I would read a historical or author's book, based on like a family that you follow a family for like 300 years. And I love those books. Oh my gosh. I love my favorite author when I was in high school was Daphne du Maurier. She just had layers upon layers upon layers in her books. And House on the Strand was my absolute favorite book. I loved it. But it was a different lifestyle. It was a different learning environment. It added to the wrinkles in my brain. It made me understand other people and, histories of other places. But I've always been like, I will go on like the PBS app, or I will go on to Tubi or Pluto, and I watch that Edwardian farm, Victorian farm, where those people, they make them go back and live in those times and do everything the way it was done back then. I love those. I've watched, I think, 4 or 5 of them now. There's so many of them. I started one the other night. Which one was it? Hang on. I'll tell you which one it was. Hang on. Let me pull it up. Documentaries are my favorite things in the world. Historical documentaries are top notch. Wake up, TV. Did I turn you off? I didn't think I did. Did I turn you off? Oh, it's froze. Oh, here it comes. It's waking up now. Wake up. There we go. Hang on. Tudor Monastery Farm. It's got Ruth Goodman. It's got historian Ruth Goodman and archaeologist Peter Ginn or I don't know, Ginn. Back over 500 years to live in a Tudor monastery farm. You learn how they kept the house, how they kept the farm, how they worked the livestock, the fields, what they cropped to keep the fields healthy. And you just learn a little bit of everything. It's interesting. It's very interesting. A lot of the stuff, when I watched the Edwardian one or the Victorian one, I'm not sure, a lot of the practices in livestock, because they do a lot of sheep over there, it was the practices that we still used with the sheep farms that I worked with when I was in high school. And I was like, well, that hasn't changed much. It was hilarious. See, Margaret, thank you. I am so happy. Like last night, I was reading and I found out that there's like this little subsection of historical books that was written by a guy, and they're trying to outlaw the book. I went and bought it. I was lucky. I found it for $9 and something on eBay. It's normally running 20 to 30. I got lucky, but I bought it because everybody was like, they keep trying to put this on the banned book. They keep trying to remove this. And I'm like, well, it means I got to read it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can afford $9.25. Cost worth. I thought that was pretty good. So I bought it. So I'm going to read it. It's in the next lineup after I finish this one. Yeah, well, a lot of people when I was on here one time, they said, "Well, what are you gonna do if the electricity goes out?" And I was like, "I'm gonna go down to the spring and dig a spring house because that's cold storage. You're gonna have a root cellar, spring house," and they're just looking at me like I'm stupid, and I'm like, you do know that so many feet down there is a constant temperature in the earth. And I have to explain, and they're like, oh. And I'm like, where water runs, it normally reduces the temperature. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, you didn't play in the woods much, did you? It just blows my mind. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. Margaret, you crack me up. And that same, I do too. I think it's so fun. If somebody says you shouldn't have that information, I won't have that information. I want to know why. Do I always keep it in my brain? Not always, but I want to know why. I want to know why you don't think anybody needs it. Because sometimes there's something really important in there that they just want to eradicate from society. I need to have that knowledge because I want to know what puzzle pieces keep getting taken from us. Yeah, I want to know what is force fed and what is taken. That's two of the most significant things that I look for. Why? Because that's it's just like food. What you force fed and what you send out, that's the health of your herd. So I look at it as the health of my brain. I need to have that. If I don't need it after a few months, I'll send it out. But I need to have it in there to determine if I need that. I don't want somebody else dictating the health of my brain. I want it. Well, yeah, I look at everything animalistically: livestock, herd pressure, body language. When people speak, I listen to the words, but I'm looking at their body because I worked primarily with things that couldn't speak to me: cattle, horses. They could kill me in a moment's notice, so I had to pay attention to what they were saying without talking. And I'm still very heavy on body language. It served me really well in my career as a parole officer, very well. I could pick up on a lie in 5 seconds, and I knew when somebody was fixing to charge me, and I was watching. Deceit shows always. Anxiety shows always. You can pick up on these things. You can see when somebody's got an emotional, like, memory response to something and when they're fabricating something. It's just fantastic what you can pick up when you know body language. And so I watched horses all the time to tell me if they were going to try to kill me or if we were good. I watch people the same way. Absolutely the same way. And if you show me too many kickers, I will just tell you, you need to leave. You're making me very nervous with your behavior and you need to leave. I've had people try to strike up conversations with me and I've been like, I don't want to have this. You need to leave. I'm done. I don't want to talk to you. Go away. Because I knew whatever they were telling me was false. I was being talked to for, a secondary plot reason, and I didn't want to find out what it was, so I just shoot them away. Oh, yeah, yeah. It makes you super sensitive, too. But sometimes people, it can also harm you so far that you can't come back from it. So kudos to people that come back from it, because some people don't. When you're forced into it, it's terrible for you, but survival skills kick in. And when you're just a little turd like me and watched the herd all day and was like, herd placement and societal structure is very similar. I was just like, this is neat. It correlates. Who's the biggest heifer? Who's the bull? Who's the pansy? Who's the teaser pony? Who's the alpha mare? And who's the troublemaker? You need to know these people in your communities because they play very important roles in the herd dynamic, which is your community, your society. Oh yeah, I was constantly, and I was seen and never heard for most of my life. Came in real handy, and I play stupid really well. So when people sit me down, they're like, "You worked in what? You were successful at what?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, well, "We never heard you talk in school." Oh, I heard you for 7 years. Know exactly who you are. I made it to adulthood with nobody knowing who I was. I liked that. I liked it a lot. I will blend in and disappear. And then pop up when you least expect it. But these are skills that everybody should know. These are skills that everybody should know. And you should not complicate the behavior because it comes from a human as opposed to an animal, because it's the same thing. It's a little bit more convoluted with humans, but it's establishing the same things. It gives you the same information. It works. It works. My dad was very good at that too. And of course, he was a blacksmith. He was a farrier, so he worked under giant animals that could kill him at any moment. And I worked with him a lot, and he trained a lot of horses. And you could just pick up. And so I learned at a young age, running around barns with horses that could kill me. I learned very quick to pick up on the horses that wanted to hurt you and the horses that didn't. And, I knew the ones that I could get away with hanging around, playing with, riding, grooming, and the ones I avoided at all cost. And you just pick up a lot of skills, and same with people. There were trainers that I could get around and help, and they enjoyed me, and there were some that tolerated me, and there were some that hated me. And you pick up on that vibe, and and they were as animalistic as the animals to me, so it was very easy to identify them. That horse at the end of the hall was hateful and was going to bite my fingers off and put him in its stall door to pet it, and it was just abrasive as a steel wool that was rusted through and through. And so I never went around that animal. There was a trainer that literally profiled the same to me as the animal, and I never went around that trainer. The one time I had to go around him because they sent me back to the barn for something when they were riding outside in the arena, I got in his way, and he took a crop after me. And had I not been young and nimble, he would have got me. And I was like, yeah, I had him pegged. I knew I didn't need to be around him. He was hateful as day is long. God almighty. He is butthole. But he profiled to me the same as that big horse that was, the horse actually didn't bite somebody's fingers off. I forget whose it was. I was in 4th grade. Listen, I was young. But I knew better than to stick my fingers in there. Nobody had to tell me that. They should have told that other person because he didn't know that. Oh, yeah, they forced kids. They forced kids that were basically farm laborers. They forced them to go to school, just like the natives. When the governments came in to sweep them up on and put them on reservations, they first let them still practice their culture and their ceremonies and stuff, and then they stopped it. They couldn't practice their culture. Why? Because it held too much information. Yeah, it all makes sense. Somebody said, well, we don't deserve to have this land because look what we did to the Indians. I didn't do that. That was the Spanish. That was. Are you seeing what I'm laying? Repeat, rerun. Yeah, that was the Spanish explorers that. Not Spanish. A product of what the Spaniards created. Yes, not Spanish. That wasn't me. Literally everybody over here, basically 90% of us, we're over here because of what the Spaniard did. Who are you protecting? Oh, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Oh, snap. It's like, yeah. Yeah, and it basically. Well, most kids that were farmed, they had enough common sense, to pick up on real world skills. They could function better. It's like my education. I'm glad I have it. I learned a whole lot of stuff, but I have to travel like 3 miles outside of my area to use it because it's not functional here. Now, that was great when I was capable of going and doing, but as soon as my body crapped out, I'm useless here. Now, if I still lived in the big city, I could probably commute or have enough ADA places, I could get in and out of to still probably try to work in some capacity. Because I'm here in Appalachia, I can't. So I'd have been better off to have not got my education and gone to those dangerous workforces, to just have stayed a farm laborer or cattle farm or horse farm operator, any kind of component like that. I would have done better in my life. I wouldn't have gone into the careers I went into, gotten injured, and had life freeze up. Why am I still a little useful? because of the culture I hang on to, the skill set I hang on to, and because I kept myself really simple even though I got an education. So I'm still a little bit useful because I still have a lot of that intrinsic knowledge from Appalachia. But as far as what I'm trained to do educationally, nope. Not unless I can travel 3 hours out of here, because no money for resources or programs like that make it here. But honestly, the more I learn about what I went into, the more I understand it's just a farce anyway. You know, that, can you stop snoring? She snores like a grown man. Luna, don't swallow your tongue. We don't want a seizure this morning. She has sleep apnea and do seizures, by the way. Scared the crap out of me. Okay, I think I woke her up enough. Maybe she'll give me a minute. Nope, there she goes in. Margaret, yes. About the books, yes. Oh yeah, like even growing up here in the sticks, like when you went to read something, you read old school literature. Like you went to the classics. You weren't bombarded with what was socially acceptable or spun out at the moment. You went to classics. And so when you read classics because that's mostly what the library had. Our libraries didn't have the funding to go with what was pop culture at the moment. They got classics. So when you went to town and got to go to the library, your books you got were literature based on classic stories. And you read the brain benders and the things that you could build upon. You didn't read trash, you know? Luna's doing good. We had to figure out, you know, it scared the crap out of us. First time she woke us up with that giant seizure, it took like 45 minutes to recover. But I noticed in her body language that she was not as freaked out as we were, so apparently she had done this before. And then I said, well, I looked at David and I said, if she keeps having these, I said, normally they come in spurts. So if something's setting her off, we're going to be due a few more. Sure enough, we had 3 or 4 in like 36 hours. And what we finally had to put our heads together, and I mean, I had like 5 people on a party line conversation about this dog, because I was like, every vet I knew, I was ringing them down. Thank goodness I'd paid attention, and I was like, it's not always centered around meals. It's not, the only thing it's centered around is sleep. She's going into REM cycle sleep when she goes into a seizure. So it had to be, one of those psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. They call it like PINS or something. Psychogenic non-epileptic seizure, or a trauma-based seizure, because those are ones that present in REM cycle sleep. Sleep apnea does too. So then we had to sort out what was going on. Hey, don't swallow your tongue. Move your neck. Thank you. I need to put her in her hammock if she's going to sleep much more, because that keeps her head at a certain angle. Everything in my house is on like a 45-degree angle for this dog now. And it's just bad because she'll flip on her back sometimes. So we had to fiddle around and find something. Hello? We had to find something that she wouldn't want to sleep on her back on, because that made it worse. So we finally found a bed that she'll lay on her side, and it has her head and her body in a bend like this that helps her breathe, helps her neck stay at a certain angle. And oh my gosh, I was getting tired of getting woke up by a dog spasming and foaming at the mouth. It was horrible. And I was like, oh my God. But then they finally stopped when we got it figured out. And now she's doing good, but she's in a bind right now laying. I'm going to have to get her somewhere else in a minute. She just ate her breakfast, had a giant belly, and laid down and went right to sleep, like after Thanksgiving dinner. But she's doing really good now. She's happy as a little freaking lark. She just, you know, has sleep apnea real bad. Of course, she snores like a full-grown man. Hey, stop flipping to your back. Come here. They want to see you. Come here, monkey in the middle. Come here. Loon Boom. Come here, Loon Boom. Come here, Loon Boon. Come on, Loon Boon. Hey, Loon Boon. So Loon Boon's getting fat. She's about getting to where she needs to be weight-wise. Say hi, everybody. Say I'm okay. Say my mommy tips me so I don't choke and wipes my mouth. And when I stop biting in the seizures, she'll pull my tongue out my throat. She's a good lady. She's like, and she wipes my butt after I go potty. Because I got a crooked tail. Say, I'm rotten. I'm rotten. Are you rotten, Luna Boona? She's my little Loomy Boomy. Oh, my little Loomy Boomy. Oh, my little Loomy Boomy. She's rotten. She's a rotten Loomy Boomy. Oh, my goodness. She's a rotten girl. You a rotten girl. You gonna go back and sleep? You gonna stay with me? You gonna go back and sleep? Oh, okay. You gonna stay with me. She obviously trusts me. Because when she comes out of seizure, she will like crawl in me or Dave's lap. Whoever's handling that one, she just crawls into her lap and is like, oh my God. And she's like, I'm going to lay here and go sleep, okay? And then she'll go sleep and then she'll come out of it and then she'll be back to playing. And she looks for us. And we knew it was sleep apnea thing because it wasn't like the psychogenic or the other seizures because she was actually aware during them. So normally if they have an epileptic or psychogenic seizure, they're not aware during them. She was aware. And so that's how we kind of narrowed it down with everybody. We kept feeding them information about them, and we finally got the answers we needed. So she's aware during them, so we just calmly talk her through it, wipe her mouth, keep her tipped, and when she stops biting, because she bites during seizures, then we pull her tongue out of her throat if she's got it back there. And she looks to us for help, and so she's very attached. She's very attached. She requires a lot of care, but she's been treated so bad in her life, I don't mind. I don't mind. So we don't mind. So you rotten, aren't you? You rotten? Yes, Margaret. And did you know all that happened right before that big storm system we had that started coming in? I got migraines. She had seizures. Maybe we're each other seeing eye medical dog. I don't know. You know, it could be. If I start getting migraines, watch her. She's going to seize out. If she starts seizing, watch out. I'm going to get migraines. She's got to have a pedicure. She doesn't mind, but when she was having seizures, I didn't want to freak her out to clip her nails because I didn't, I've only clipped a couple passively trying to teach her when I'm making noise around her paws and stuff, it's okay. And then I was like, I'm not going to clip her nails right now because I didn't want to trigger another seizure. And so give her a couple more days to going back to normal, and then we'll give her a pedicure. So, but I get lean meat, and I get lean meat, 1 spoon of the doggy food mixed in, and pumpkin. That's what she's thriving on right now. We can't do broccoli or anything right now. She's her body works best on that conglomeration. Okay, Margaret. Oh, you're so full of breakfast you can't move. Oh my gosh, you're so full of breakfast you can't move. Oh my gosh, where are you going? Oh, you want my hand back. Okay, sorry. Okay. Tell them hi. Say hi, everybody. She's now starting to play with toys. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're playing with toys. Yes, you are. Oh, baby. She's playing with toys like a normal dog now. She knows the toys are hers. She kind of found out where she belongs. Are you going to lay down or just keep pushing? That seems to do her best. And she's gotten to where she eats most of it, so. Mom's Chihuahua, he's almost 20. He'll be 20 this year. We thought he was like 17, and then we got the vet records, and we realized we had kind of gypped him a couple years. We were like, holy crap, he's older than we thought. He's like the crypt keeper, but he's still going. He's about blind now. He's blind. and diabetic. He's still going. He still looks good. He is. And I thought I'd never be one that would. My mom cooks his meals, and I was like, I'm never going to get there. I'm there. I mean, sometimes with Oscar I would, but with her body just, it has to be done that way. So you just lucky that we tag out in deer every year. You know that? You're lucky we got a lot of deer in the freezer. And your pop owns a beef farm. Yes, lucky dog. But Mom's Chihuahua hates me. He's the only dog that's ever disliked me. And it's because I don't let him get away with murder. He hates me. It's okay. I still take care of him. Yeah, I have to tap my foot to get him over to the porch, and then I have to tell him closer, get closer, get closer, get closer. He wants to jump, but then he waits for me to grab him on the side. So he jumps, and then I set him, but he thinks he jumps. And he's like, I did that on my own. And he'll go in the house, and I'm like, you didn't do it on your own, but okay. I helped. But for the last week, she's been called Shake and Bake more than anything. I'd be feeding her. I'm like, listen here, Shake and Bake. We ain't doing this today, okay? No more Shake and Bake. We're done. She'd look at me like, what in the crap are you saying to me? Are you about to fall out again? Oh, gosh. It's just life's so hard today. You ate so much food. You're so miserable. You're so happy. Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? You're a happy girl. You're a happy girl. So I'm getting chubby. I had to let her collar out. She's finally getting to a healthy weight, though. If we have some time with no seizures and her throw-up's almost stopped, she might burp and be like, ooh, but she's not throwing up anymore. So we're getting her figured out. And so the vet's like, yeah, pretty soon we can go ahead and spay her, but she just wants to have some good time before we attempt a surgery. So we're getting her, you're going to sleep. We're getting her figured out. She's not been to the farm yet because it's down the mountain. I didn't want to make her upchuck. So we're just trying to get her secure, stable, and figure out her health stuff. She's actually putting on muscle now where she plays, and she's got enough protein and calories in her. She's actually putting on some muscle now. So that barn cat just gets heck when you're outside, don't it? Say, I won't hurt it, but she's like, I sure like to bluff it. She'd be a good little coonhound. If David puts a raccoon pelt anywhere, she trees it in this house. She trees it. She's like, oh my God. So one thing we found out is she can climb a quilt rack. We had to train her not to do that because she would be a great agility dog. She was at the top of that goddamn quilt rack just perched. And I thought, what the crap are you doing up there? She's like, I wanted the hide that was up there, Mama. You did, didn't you? You wanted to hide. Yeah, you did. So she'll be going down. The mom and dad's both come by and met her and stuff, and she loves them. But we've not taken her down there because I didn't want to make her upchuck. I was afraid to set her stomach off. But that will be happening very soon. So that's why I've been back and forth and more tired than normal. But she was puny, so what was I going to do? I had to. Stretch out. Oh, okay. I'm the Berkline. I'm the recliner. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. She sits on the back of the recliner so she can see out the window. She was gotten to know when Dave comes home, and she'll sit on the back of the recliner to look out the window to wait for him. It terrifies me, but that's where she wants to sit. And but yeah, the first couple of days that I had her here, she was getting used to all the hides, and she climbed the quilt rack and was sitting up at the ceiling on that top rung of that quilt rack, just like, hey. And I was like, dog. I was like, you don't do this. And then I thought, boy, if you'd been a coonhound, you would have gone after all of them, wouldn't you? Yeah. Wouldn't have been one got out of the whole county, would they? No. You'd have got them. Oh, you going to flip back? Okay. You'd have got them all. She likes to sit up straight and then fall back into your arm and sit upside down. The best purse. Yeah, she had the view. But she's getting better with fur. But if a new one comes in, or David finished, like he finished a beaver hoop last night and brought it in here in the living room, and so it could dry it a little bit better than it was, just the wood that he put together for it. And he sat in here, and she was like, "It's new," and so she had to show it to me. And then when David came back in, even though he's the one that brought it in, she had to show it to him. So if anything changes in the house, you have to go with her to look at it 50 times because she wants you to know it changed. And when David gets home from work, she's got one of her bobcat mounts she's in love with. I call it her boyfriend. She goes and checks on him every morning. She's in love with it. And when David gets home, she wants him to go and check and make sure it's still there. And I'm like, she's checking on her boyfriend. So she's a funny little thing, but we like her. We like her. Oh my goodness, she's going to flip backwards and go to sleep. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, if we get you a little bit fatter, you won't be able to sleep on your back. You'll be surrounded and just roll on over. So that's my plan. She's pitiful. So I'm a good girl. Oh my goodness, I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. She's learning really quick. She potty trained really quick. Except for when Daddy puts her on a screened-in porch and doesn't leave her out to go potty. So we left Daddy a present, didn't we? So I don't want to talk about it. It embarrasses me. And she was sitting out there like, oh my God, I didn't mean to, but the door was shut. It was locked. David hadn't undone the lock so she could nose the door open. And he was working on something, turned his back to her. And she's silent. I'm trying to change her from that. Teach her those buttons like Oscar had. She'll just stare at the door and will it open if it, you have to see her. She's silent. And David said, oh yeah, she was standing at the door. And I'm like, you didn't notice that she was staring intently? He goes, well, I just figured she wanted to go play. He said, I wasn't ready to turn her out yet because I couldn't keep an eye on her. And he said, turn back around. He said, she pooped. I said, she told you she needed to go outside. He said she was sitting there squinting like, oh God, I made a mistake, You can tell she's not been treated great. But she's getting pretty rotten here, as you can tell. She's getting pretty doggone rotten. Oh, yeah, she's a big snuggle bug. She's a big... And David, if he sits down, she's on his lap. David's her person. She likes me, but David's her person. So when David gets home, the world shuts down, and it's all about sitting in his lap. She wants to sleep. As soon as he comes down, as soon as he gets sat down from work, comes home, she's on his lap, and as soon as she's in contact, she's asleep. That's her safe place. That's where she's the happiest, and she crashes out. She's gotten to where she doesn't have to kennel at night. She can go to her pillow, her bed. Say last night she got up and put herself in her kennel. She's got the option, she's got a big donut pillow in there that keeps her head up, and then we've got her hammock bed that we're trying to change her to. Last night, for some reason, she wanted to be on her donut pillow, so she got up and put herself in her kennel, but we don't lock the door or nothing. So then about 5 o'clock this morning, she come out and nosed me and wanted to go out. She'll come looking for you. So I go through the house looking for whoever I need, and I'm the person she gets to get up and go out. And she's doing really good otherwise. Oh, I got an itch. I hit the sweet spot. Oh my goodness, I hit the sweet spot. Did I hit the sweet spot? What was that? What was that? Oh, you falling. Oh, she's like, I just want to go to bed. Can you just stop talking and go to bed? Oh, David's her favorite person. Is Daddy home? Is your daddy home? She's like, no, he's not home until the day goes by. It's not time. She's like, I have to eat 4 times before Daddy gets home. She has little meals. She's like, I have to eat 3 more times before Daddy gets home. And she knows. You know when your daddy gets home, don't you? I don't think she'll probably go with me full time for a long time because she's so attached to him right now. Not until big yawn. Not until she realizes that she's safe wherever she goes with one of us. So, a little bit of a conundrum with me going here, there, and yonder, but we're making it work, ain't we? And David's just 5 minutes away at work, so at lunch and stuff, he can come home. So it's been working, but when she's been sick, I've had to be here, so I've been a road runner. Yeah, I'm ignored as soon as Davy gets up. But it's okay because she cuddles with me all day long. So, but yeah, she's doing really good now. We've been seizure free once we figured it out. And thank you. I need a bath. Thank you. It was just scary there for a while. But we figured it out. She has severe. We knew she had probably had sleep apnea from the snoring. We didn't know to what extent until she seized out on us. Oh, you little fat thing. Oh, you little fat thing. I'm pretty. I'm pretty girl. Oh, you're pretty girl. Oh, you're pretty girl. Oh, you're pretty girl. Okay, you're pretty girl. You wanting to go lay down? You wanting to go lay down? You are, aren't you? Yeah. So okay. I'll go. So you can lay down. I gotta go let her sleep in her little pillow so she won't seize out when she goes to sleep. So I'm gonna put her on her pillow and then I'm gonna crochet for a while. And there are still 3 of the hanging possums on David's Etsy, Hillbilly Heart Decor. So if you want one of the little hanging possums, they're on Etsy. I've got that one mini possum. He's not really mini. He's like 3 or 4 rounds short of the gray yarn because I ran out of yarn. I've got him left. Everything else, David's wanting to take to these 2 other things he signed in for because they're local. So after that, I don't know. He's making some bigger stuff that he can haul up there and sell because it's close to home. And then he's got to get squared away for the Pumpkin Festival, the Storytelling in the Hills, and the Grinch Fest. So I do know that I've got another faux fur bag. This is a faux fur bag. It's a, what do they call it? The drawstring bag. It's got the grommets and it's got a little purse that goes with it. I'm not petting you enough? Okay. It's got a little purse that goes with it. She grabbed my hand. And I've just got to clean up the grommets. It's one that I forget when it was made. It's not been used very much. And I thought, well, I might as well just see if somebody wants that. It's cute. It's cute as it can be. And the little coin purse matches it. But I don't need it anymore. And I can't remember when it was made. But I washed it the other day, and I do have a leather bag. What is it? Is it a Latico? It's one of those that costs like $150, $200. And I have one of those. I got it when I worked for the state because it was one of those messenger style bags that I could basically slide my laptop in if I needed to, or my iPad. If I was going to training or something, it was thick enough it would protect it, and small enough it wasn't a work bag, a big work bag. And I never even carried it. I think I might have carried it once. I never really carried it. I might have taken it to the academy one year and decided I didn't want to pack it around and left it in my room all week. I need to probably part with it because it's an expensive bag. That was back when I made good money. Them days are gone. But I just been working through some stuff that I had in storage, basically put away. And I found a few more things I'm going to throw up and let David put on his Etsy that I don't need to keep. It's just taking up space. So. And I didn't know I still had it tucked away, or I probably would have sold it because I sold all my nice purses and stuff that I packed when I worked in the big jobs. I sold them a long time ago because it's just me. I just pack a little regular old pocketbook because I never know where I'm going to end up. I'm not going to court anymore. I'm not going to parole revocation hearings anymore. And I don't need anything expensive half the places I go. I'm dropping it on the ground or throwing it in a tractor or a Kubota, or I don't need a really expensive one. So I'm definitely gonna put that little faux fur one. It's cute. I'm gonna put it up for sale, and probably that leather one too, because it's an expensive purse. So somebody can get a really nice purse really cheap. They're still in business, and they're still a couple $100 a piece. But it didn't suit me for what I thought it would, and I never packed it, and I forgot I had it till I went digging through stuff I had put up. So I have spent my days here going through crap, haven't I? Yeah, she thinks all I do is dig through boxes or knot strings. She thinks I'm crazy because I knot string. She's like, all this lady does is put knots and strings. I don't understand it. And when David comes home and I sit down and start crocheting again, she's like, she's doing it again. She's putting knots in those strings. She doesn't understand what I'm doing at all. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. She just look at me like, what is the draw? And I'm like, it's nice. She's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, I know. Okay. I'll let you want to go outside? Okay. You gonna go back to your chair? Okay. Oh my gosh, Luna, you're getting fat. Go on. Hey, oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to have to let her out, and I'm going to put her down so she will not go into seizure mode when she goes into REM. Let me see if I can stay with my energy today. I know I look still kind of bad from that earache and fever and stuff, but I feel better. Let me see if I can get her to rest, get through her big REM cycle nap, get some stuff done. If I do, we'll come back into chapter 4. If not, don't worry. When it goes up, it will stay up. You can always watch it. You know, it will stay on the playlist for the other chapters. But we got to get moving again now since the water heater went out, dogs started having seizures, and I had migraines and then got an ear infection. Kaboom! But, you know, it's all working out. We're all good. We all lived through it. Coming out the other end, we're fine. Also, look at this. This is one of those hair sticks. It's got labradorite in it. There's a lady makes these. And I wanted to see if I could make them. I bought one. I don't think I'm that talented, but I really like it. And I think if I used rib bones, shaved down the end, resin filled it to so far back in the bone, and sanded, I could make rib hair sticks. Look, I've got gray spots in my, Lord have mercy. I could make rib hair sticks. It's the thought, y'all, because I have lots of ribs that are too big for other stuff, like earrings and stuff, that would be perfect size for hair sticks. I've already said David, bobcat, coyote, and even deer. The lower ones on the deer, let me have them. And he's like, okay. So we'll see what he hands me at the end of his season. He's got everything but his black bear that he killed. He's got everything else fleshed out, prepped, ready to tan. Got some tanning, but he's got others to tan, but he's got all the flesh work done. And this is the fastest he's ever got everything done, but we had like a whole winter he was stuck at home. So he's doing lots of stuff. He's doing more skulls and stuff like that, boiling more out so I can make more jewelry and stuff and sanitizing. So whatever comes through and he can't use, he normally gives it to me. So whatever he gives me, I'm thinking about making hair sticks. That's why, like, my hair is not long, but it's super thick. And if a rib, and I put a rib in my hair the other day. Don't worry, it was sanitized. And it worked really good, except for the point needs to be resin filled and sanded so it doesn't grab your hair. It held my hair perfectly. And I got really, like, grumpy, thick, uncontrollable hair. And I thought, this would be kind of nice if I could get the bone resin filled to a certain spot back and sanded down. I'm thinking about it. I think it'd be kind of neat, especially for like people who go to Renaissance fairs and those Viking things, and I think it'd be kind of neat. I like this because it's got a chunk of labradorite in it. Maybe it'd help me during the day. I don't know. It's cute. I put it in my hair. I'd totally use a bone too if I had one. I'm weird. Hi, Simple Girl. How you doing? Okay, you caught me at the end. I'm done. I've jibber-jabbered for way too long. Luna is licking her bowl, and she's not getting fed again. She's on a schedule. I'm teaching her. But I'm going to let her go out, take a nap. We'll see if I come back and do chapter 4. If I keep my energy level, let's get it done. Because as soon as we're both doing good, then I'll be moving and shaking again because Mom's got health appointments coming up at the end of the month. So let me take care of the dog, see if I can keep this energy rolling, get some stuff done, and we'll come back for chapter 4 later. If you can't join me, that's fine. It'll always be up there. You can go back and watch it at your convenience. Also, we probably within the week will have a special visitor on the channel. So hang around for that one too. Like I said, if you miss it, don't worry. It's going to stay on the channel. As long as YouTube don't take it down, it'll be up there for everybody. So keep your eye on the channel. I will try to give you warning if at all possible, but it's kind of a fly-by-night scenario here. But I'll try to keep you updated. That's where I am. I'm feeling better. Ears doing much better. Luna's not seasoned. World's still spinning. We're good. I've missed y'all too. Y'all have a good day. I hope to see you later. Margaret, I'm still looking for horse skulls and cow skulls and jawbones. I have some being processed, some cow stuff, but I'm still looking for the horse stuff. But I have places to go, but right now it's been so copperheady from where the hay was cut late because of the rain. We'll get there, though. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm taking the dog out. She's up and moving. See y'all later. Bye. You gonna push button? Gonna push button?